Hello everyone and welcome back to the jmink channel. In this video we're finally going to get the 1973 Evinrude 85 horsepower back onto Glastron. Alright everyone, so before I put the motor back on the boat, I just had a couple of items that I needed to take care of. So, first things first, it was time to install a new drain tube in the Splashwell. This is pretty straightforward. I just picked up a standard Splashwell drain tube from Walmart.com. This tube is in two pieces that snap together from both sides on the transom. I added a bunch of 3M marine grade sealant and then used a piece of all thread to snap the drain tube together. Once this was done, it was time to lift the motor up off the stand. This felt like a big moment. I literally put this motor on this stand years ago and then tucked it away in storage. I never knew how long this stand would be used for, but I guarantee you I had no idea that it would get used for this long. Anyway, using the ring on top of the motor, I was able to connect the engine hoist and begin to crank. Now, I got this snug and then started to remove the bolts that were holding the motor to the stand. Once I had the bolts loose, it was quick work to get the motor up in the air. I then rolled the motor over and slowly began dropping the motor down into position. Now, one thing I decided to do differently from the original way this motor was installed was to add a support plate to the transom. So this goes on the Splashwell on the top two bolts and it's made of aluminum. And I got it from Amazon.com and there is a link in the video description. So, using the plate and bolts, I put everything back together and I used 3M marine grade adhesive on all of these bolts and transom holes. Now, once I had everything bolted down and in place, I decided to go ahead and switch the solenoid out that was on the motor. Now to do this, I just removed the old one and reconnected the wires. And after I got everything bolted down here and the wires reconnected, I found a problem. When I went to turn the key, I didn't get any clicking or spinning of the starter. I then started reading the wiring diagram and perusing some forums on the internet to try to figure out if this was a common issue. I didn't see anything wrong when looking at the diagram. My key switch was wired correctly, you name it. But in forums there were some people saying, if you're having this issue, go ahead and try to skip the starting kill circuit with a toggle switch or just a jumper wire to see if you can get it spin. I did this and got everything to work, so then I thought, okay, let's move on. Let's wire in a toggle switch just so we can get this motor to start and we can get to the water. So here I am adding a wire that runs from a toggle switch at the front of the boat back to the motor. This toggle switch gets connected to the solenoid to engage the starter as needed. I even looked at my wiring diagram again just to make sure that I didn't have a problem with the key switch before getting to this step. Once the toggle switch was in place, I flicked it and of course it engaged the starter just like I knew before I got this far. So with the toggle switch in place and the motor now able to start, it was time to move on. I will be coming back to this to troubleshoot the kill circuit because I believe there is a problem with a switch inside the remote control, but I'm going to come back and fix it later. For now, I'm ready to get the boat running and on the water. Now with the motor running, the last bit was to put a new seal on the cowl. I picked up a new cowl seal because the old one was falling apart. And I got this new one from nymarine.ca. And the one that I got was for my 1973 85 horsepower Evinrude. My outboard is model number 85393M. So the seal that I ordered is a top 4 model, all 90-degree V4, year 1969 through 2000, length 76.5 inches. So I got the seal ordered, got it in, and here I am putting it on the cowl. And everything went on smooth, and I think it actually looks really nice.
Alright, now the part of the video most of you have been waiting for. Here I am going to show you starting the motor for the first time in years. I'm adding a little bit of starting fluid and then I'm going to turn on the automatic choke, which is back on the motor, and next thing you know, motor fires right up. So it is notable to mention that I have the lever on the remote control pulled up, which is used when you're starting the motor. It allows the motor to rev up to higher RPMs. So we'll level out here in just a minute once I release the lever.
All right everyone, now that the motor's running and bolted down, it's finally time for a lake test. And I'm gonna save that for the next video where we'll be splashing the boat for the first time. As always, I just wanna say how much I appreciate you watching my video. Thanks for the comments, likes, and subs. And if you're new, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss the next video where we finally hit the lake.